a sluggo. Slant and go.
Marty Coleman, Kyle, Texas. All right, fellas, we'll start off the show tonight by saying I only got one computer, so I don't know what's going to happen here. This could be a total cluster, but that I got it right. Look, we're off to a good start.
Nice start.
Next to me here from Calabugie Sound and Tufusky Island, South Carolina, I think. Is that where you're at tonight, Case?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Casey the Beef Kerrigan. Show is named after him. And way up and over there is the mayor of Pooler, Georgia, the biggest Georgia fan in Pooler, Zach Locks Parker. So, guys, it's show number 67. We had a good week last night. Not everybody thinks 7-2 is a good week, though. There was, I'm not sure what he's expecting from the three of us and knuckleheads, but there was a comment on the Instagram that said, "Hey, I finally got whatever my earbuds fixed, and there was some stuff you guys talked about last week that didn't come true." And I'm like, wait a second. We went 7-2. I'm not sure how it happened or why it happened or if it'll ever happen again.
Right.
And we talked about the games that had happened before that. So I am not sure what he's talking about.
Well, Devil's Advocate says he's not wrong, though. We did get some things wrong, but we got way more things right.
Yep. Beef?
Good evening, y'all. Kevron saying hello. Clemson's going to beat Syracuse this Friday. Go Tigers. Always good to see you, pal. Thanks for checking in.
Thanks for checking in, Kevron. You're number one again this week. Yeah, we got a couple things wrong, but as we were talking pre-show, 7-2 for a professional gambler, that's pretty good. And for three knuckleheads, it's real good. It may never happen again.
Emphasis on knuckleheads.
Yes, definitely. Okay, fellas, we're off to a rollicking start here, and I got a quick rant, speaking of Instagram and Facebook. For about 9 years now, I've been putting out highlights, and I'm sure you guys have seen some of those highlights, and I think, Beef, that's probably how we connected originally. So I put out these highlights of Clemson, win, lose, or draw. Of course, more when they win because, there's more highlights, right? And lately, the folks have been really testy. Now, I got all kinds of people on those pages with Clemson fans and non-Clemson fans and, whatever, Alabama fans saying we kicked that tail, and LSU fans, they were there for about a month. But lately, it's been yeah, we'll talk to you in 2025. Lately, it's been Clemson fans who, for some reason, can't watch a highlight. Let me back up a second. I have banned about 3 people in 9 years, and generally it's for just language that there's kids on those pages and everything, and I just don't want to deal with it. Between the 3 of us, if we want to use that language, great. Don't use it on a public page with my name on it, et cetera, et cetera, right? So, but I've hardly banned anybody. They can be critical of Clemson. They can say good things about Clemson, whatever. Alabama fans come in there and take shots. Isn't that what the internet's for in some regard, right? But the last couple of weeks have been horrible. I cannot post a highlight of the 1981 championship game without somebody making a comment about the 2021 team. And those people probably aren't listening to this podcast, but I'm here to tell you, I'm banning you. It's okay if you're critical of the team. It's okay if you say, well, DJ missed a guy on the curl there. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
Or DJ threw that one a little high and made him jump for it. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about these guys suck and worse, believe me, and worse. So, public announcement. you can be critical of the team, but try not to do it on the throwback Thursdays from the 1980s. I mean, really, that doesn't have anything to do with 1921,
Right.
1921, 2021, and be a grown up. Criticize their play, not that they suck. And just grown men can't control themselves because their team's 3-2. So that's my public service announcement for the day.
Boo, 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 boo.
Like I said, I know the people who are making those comments don't listen to this show or watch this show, but that's okay. That's okay.
It's funny too. Like even the bigger Southern News Reserve is huge, but even JP and some of these other sites that are on Facebook as well is having the same problems. So it's like it's same thing. The language doesn't need to happen. I mean, we use colorful language on Chop and Beef, but it's at each other. It's not at any players or anything like that. But as far as these at the end of the day too, you have to remember that these are kids, man. They're still kids, young men, no question. But woo, I don't know. Maybe in our older age, we're softening. I don't know, Marty.
Well, I never use that type of language. I do. Obviously, you guys know I do on the text, but I'm saying in public. I mean, if that's your reaction to winning a game by 6 points, is you got to go drag the 1981 highlights through, what happened last Saturday. I just don't get it. I don't get the mindset, and I don't think are you solving anything? Are you using your brain? If you are, I'm scared for your brain. But anyway, I'm banning people. I've banned 2 in the last week, and I hate to do that because it's probably frustration. But again, think of the other people that are on that page, and a lot of them don't want to hear that. The majority of the people on that page don't want to hear it. If you wanted to hear it, you'd be on the text chain with us on, I was going to say Saturday, but Friday night this week, which we'll get to in a minute. So anyway, that's my public announcement for the week. Hey, fellas, last week was an incredible week of college football, and I hate to say it this way, sounds kind of weird to say, but Clemson was off, so we got to see, I got to spend my whole Saturday. Beef and I watched Clemson almost. I don't flip the channel very often, maybe halftime. I know, Zach, you have a couple of TV setups, whatever, but we had the full experience last weekend, and it was glorious. And I wanted to start out with Texas and Oklahoma because that's in my region here. And what a fantastic game. Especially if you're not a big Texas fan, because they blew a 41-23 lead with 2 minutes and 45 seconds to go in the third quarter. But the things I wanted to talk about is I told you guys about Bijan Robinson, and it looked like Madden out there with that dude running across the field and all over the place. I think he may not win the Heisman this year, but he's got a chance next year. I don't even know what year he is, but fantastic running back. They had a receiver, Xavier Worthy, who had 157,000 yards receiving, but he also had a crucial fumble. Texas looks good on offense. They look horrible on defense. And speaking of looking horrible on defense, I got in a little argument there with Nelson during the week about Oklahoma's defense, and he's throwing out metrics with me, and they're number 26 in the SP plus. I said, I don't care what they are in SP plus. They can't tackle. Did you watch the game? Yeah. Did you watch Texas and Oklahoma? And I watched them the week, and you say, well, Texas has a great offense. No wonder they look bad. No, I watched them the week before against Kansas State. Kansas State doesn't have what Texas has on offense, but Oklahoma still didn't tackle them. So, Locks, did you see this game, and what did you think of it?
I did not see the whole game. I will tell you this. I was getting ready to go hit the golf ball. But I did see the beginning of it, and I ran upstairs to change to go and leave, and a rare sight happened. Mrs. Locks was watching the game, and she said, come here, you got to see this. So something must have been happening. She was very excited about it. It was just some wild plays right from the get-go. It was a track meet up and down the field. So I was following it. I did have it on my phone while I was out on the golf course, but just epic collapse by Texas, terrible. But obviously Oklahoma, they know that they have a real backup quarterback in, and it'll be interesting to see if he gets to start this coming week. He brought him right back in the game. Spencer Rattler I don't know, it just never really got going for him this whole year. He's just kind of been just floating along, and boy, maybe this made him a little more inspired just to show he's not, invincible. He's not the starter possibly after this.
Yeah. Well, the report was today that there was an Oklahoma student who was on about the 40th floor looking through binoculars. I swear this is true.
Yeah, oh yeah, no, because it was close to the public.
Yeah, and saw that the other guy was taking their first team snaps. And now Lincoln Riley has closed all practices and not speaking to the media about that.
And apparently they're knocking down the chemistry building.
Well, they didn't need it anyway, Casey. I mean, come on.
Nelson Wilhite chimes in, says he's protected himself. I said they were better, not great, and the Oklahoma defense did play better in the second half. They were awful in the first, and he's not wrong there. Bijan Robinson is a sophomore, a true sophomore, so he does have another year to play. And Caleb Williams is the quarterback that will be the new starter at Oklahoma, according to the 40th floor binoculars.
And he's already here's the thing. He's already got Heisman odds out, at least in one place. Wow. He's played one part of one game, really. And but people don't rush to judgment. He's going to be a Heisman. Now this week when he goes 5 for 22 with 600 yards rushing, he might still win the Heisman.
I was having a conversation with everybody's favorite Twitter site, Big Game Boomer, the other day, and he is. This is a true story. He is not sold. He's an Oklahoma guy. He grew up a Clemson fan. Actually, I know Clemson people don't believe it, but he did. Sent me a picture with him in Clemson uniform. But he said he's not sold on Caleb Williams' arm, but he definitely likes his moxie and is excited to see and hates Rattler. So not like take that with a grain of salt because of who it is, but that's as close to the Oklahoma program as I get.
All right. Nelson's got a lot of comments tonight there, Beef.
Yeah, he said, did anyone not believe that Caleb Williams was going to start this week?
Spencer Rattler's dad, I think, is the only person who believes that. That's funny.
Beef, remind us, who did you pick for Heisman? Because now Marty's pick is gone, and so is mine. So, do you remember?
CJ Stroud, Ohio State.
You got a chance.
You got a better chance than I do times two, and Locks does.
Me too. Yeah, I and DJ.
Whoever's.
I just thought, and it was only because of the receivers that he has. That's really the only reason I picked him.
Right, they're playing well right now.
Well, and Beef, whoever you got running that account that we used to use has got my $4, I bet, or $6 or whatever it is. And I'm not getting it back. I'm not seeing anything.
I was going to cash out at Christmas time when I go back up north.
Well, I won't have anything for you to cash out, but I hope your other friends do. Mississippi and Arkansas. Now, I know Locks put eyes on this game. 52-51. Arkansas went for the 2-point conversion, which, what do you guys think about that? But 52-51, SEC. Locks, your takeaways from this one?
Yeah, a Big 12 track meet broke out in an SEC game once again. I mean, same thing's looking like it might happen this week too with Tennessee and Ole Miss. The Ole Miss is just in the wrong conference right now with Lane Kiffin calling plays. But electric game, up and down. I mean, it was wild. And I mean, what is always the rule of thumb? If you're at home, you kick. If you're away, you go for 2, right? So analytics played, went for it. Was it the best play? I have not seen very many 2-point conversion plays this year that have been like mesmerizing. Like, why doesn't everyone call it play? It's just I'm remembering the Florida 2-point conversion plays versus Alabama. It was like jumbled up mess, and this wasn't that much different. It was too bad. I mean, I kind of wanted to see him kick and go to OT, but it wasn't meant to be. But it was a really good game. It was fun to watch. I kind of partial to those type of games myself.
We could have been staring at a 74-72 type game if you didn't kick that. But they changed the rules now, right? The second overtime, you have to go for 2.
You have to go for 2, I think. After 2.
None of that nonsense like Texas A&M and LSU. Beef, your take on the game?
Yeah, I enjoyed this one tremendously. It was one of those that was on a second TV, so I had to keep flipping back and forth as we were in Florida this past weekend. So great game. Arkansas is tough, man. I really like that the quarterback there, KJ Jefferson.
Yes.
KJ Jefferson.
Exactly.
Matt Corral is great. these guys, it looked like the Big 12 at times. These guys were running wide open, and Lane Kiffin running down the sideline again. Because I turned it off, and then all of a sudden got an update that said that Arkansas tied the game. And I'm like, how the heck did they tie the game late? By the time I turned it back, Matt Corral had thrown the touchdown pass to take him up again. And I'm like, this game is crazy. Turned it off, found out it was going to the 2-point conversion, turned it back on, and saw that dumpster fire of a play. And but yeah, it was fun, man. I wish I had people that liked that game in particular. I forget who else we were watching. But we would have kept it on there a little. I would have kept it on there a little longer if I had the remote.
Well, you know what they say about those 2-point plays. The great ones are the ones that work. And if no matter what you call, if it doesn't work, it's horrible. Right?
Well, what I'm seeing a lot of too is these fades, and I don't know why they think. I don't know. I'm a novice fan, I guess, when it comes to that. But it's like, yes, you have a 6'6" receiver against a 5'9" DB, but that ball's got to be thrown perfectly. But these slants always work. So, like, what are you doing? But I don't know.
Or now everybody, a lot of people are doing that, like, inside shovel pass, as we saw, right? The Clemson fans get jammed up. Nelson says Caleb Williams opened up the run game for Oklahoma. No doubt about that. Even when he drops the ball and kicks it down the field, he still picks it up, and Texas can't tackle him. So 66 yards, I think it was, on his very first play on a fumble. He fumbled it, picked it up, and ran it in.
And there you go.
Sure. Yeah.
Nelson also said they're both running Oklahoma or Arkansas and Ole Miss, both running a variation of old Baylor offense. So it is basically the Big 12. That's right.
You can't keep Art Browse out of college football, no matter how hard we try.
It's Kendall, right? Kendall Browse there at Ole Miss.
Ole Miss.
Yeah.
And Lebby, Jeff Lebby.
All right, Bama and Texas A&M. Texas A&M. This is the hilarious game of the day for me, because Texas A&M came back, beat Alabama. What a great game! And I caught the end of this one. It was a lot of fun. Parker was even watching with me, just because of the time. That's when he usually comes down and talks to me. Bama loses to Texas A&M, and we've joked around on this show a lot about Texas A&M being overrated and the hype train for Texas A&M. Well, I sent you guys a clip from the Van Pelt show this morning where he's railing on Texas A&M because their TexAgs.com site says this proves now that Texas A&M is ready to move in on Bama's A&M West. And he said, Van Pelt, I wish I would have brought it up for the show, but basically he said, yeah, Bama loses occasionally once in a while. Yeah, I've seen it happen. But you know what they don't do? They don't lose to Mississippi State at home like Texas A&M did just the week before. But my takeaway, the Texas A&M hype train for next year is already rolling down the tracks. We're going to hear it next year. They're going to be in the top 5.
Preseason number 5 every year.
This is our year. This is it. Not well, it was this year, but we moved it to next year. Your take on this game and the Texas A&M hype train locks?
The hype train is alive and well. There's no doubt about it. But how would you like to wake up the morning after the big win and be like, oh, nothing's changed in our conference. We're still a game back. You know, like, great. So I'm glad someone beat them, but you're still out of it. There's not really anything you can do about it. You're at the mercy of now Alabama losing again, which seems very impossible. I'd hate to be on the Alabama football team after this week of practice. You probably don't have enough pads left on your toes after running so much. Saban was going nuts. I heard something too that before the game that the Texas A&M crowd, are they really the 12th man? Is it that really that big a deal? That field made a difference. That crowd was going crazy. It was a capacity crowd. It was nuts. It was a fun game to watch. The latest this guy has been up in a long time. Past midnight here, Eastern time, Marty. You know I don't make it that late. But I had a staff party. It was fun. It was good to watch, and you know everybody sleeps like a baby after Alabama gets a loss.
No doubt. Beef, your takeaway?
Yeah, it was a great game. I enjoyed it tremendously. Having watched and listened to Zach Calzada coming in for Mr. King there early in the season, like against Colorado, he couldn't. I don't know. I was questioning whether or not he was actually right-handed. during that game. And then he looks unreal in the game against Alabama. But the poor kid that I forget who it was. I think his last name is Branch. Excuse me, Brian Branch, the DB number 14 for Alabama. He came in for the starter. They were picking on him. Like, I almost felt bad for an Alabama player. He's a sophomore DB. Every time he was one-on-one, they threw it his way, and he got beat every single time. And that just really surprised me for a Nick Saban defense to not have somebody equal or better, not better, but equal behind the starter. So I enjoyed it.
Nelson says Parker's negotiating better bedtime. He's 15, Nelson. He goes to bed when he wants to for the most part, and he pays the consequences the next morning.
Yeah.
So
life lessons at 15.
Sure enough.
Yeah, no doubt. 15 years old, you got to start learning how to be your own person at some point. Okay, fellas, this week the slate is not as good, or at least it doesn't look as good as it did last week, at least the way last week turned out. Clemson at Syracuse on Friday night. And the crazy thing is we've got 9 bets between 3 of us, and 3 of them are on this game. That's crazy. NC State at Boston College. Obviously, that has implications for Clemson. Kentucky at Georgia, battle of undefeateds. What's the spread now? 23.5 locks? I don't even know.
It is. First time 2 6-0 SEC teams have played each other in the regular season.
And TCU is at Oklahoma. And Beef put a little line here. Says Spencer Rattler versus Caleb Williams. Should be interesting to see how that turns out. And the drama in Oklahoma is fascinating, especially if they go out and beat TCU with a different quarterback, 40-0. Yeah. Or 40-7 or something. When every game they've had, it's been close. And Ole Miss at Tennessee, which, Locks, you've been following the over-under on this game. And what was it? You texted us this afternoon. I don't remember.
It started at 79.5. I checked it just before we went on. It's 82 now, over-under.
Wow.
The highest one I've heard in a while. The Alabama Ole Miss game was 80. And that didn't even come close. So this is going to be a real track meet.
This one might come close.
It might. There's not a lot of defense between those 2 teams for sure. They can both score.
That's funny. All right, let me see if I can negotiate my way over here because it is time. I have to pick the right thing. I can't even see what I'm doing here.
Okay.
Here we go. All right, fellas, it's time. The 7-2 boys got to go to work. I don't think you could have done any worse if you tried.
Well, I take that as a victory.
These guys aren't doing research, so why should I? Beef, you stink the most.
A true believer in what they're doing in North Carolina. That's why I'm picking Virginia Tech, Tennessee.
I love Spencer Rattler.
I agree with Marty.
I don't like this.
Look, you smell it in the back door cover.
All right, we're smelling it, but we're smelling good, fellas. Share screen. And Chrome tab.
We got to fire our producer.
Yeah, fire our producer's second computer. There we go, fellas. Last week, Locks 2-1, Marty 2-1 in the show. Casey earned the title. Hail to the Beef. A 3-0 week after he'd already given up on the first game of the week. Yeah. Georgia Tech came back to win, and he swept the week. And by the end of the night, he was telling us that he should be named Locks, not Zach. But Casey racked in 1,750 Sluggo bucks by accident last week. Locks racked in 784. I got 332 because I'm grandpa and I'm betting like a nickel a game. And I think there's another bet on that making fun of me. But over the season, look who's the only positive net guy in this podcast, 10,727. We started with 10,000. Casey moves into second place with 96, 70, 50. You got to get rid of that 50 tonight, Casey.
I know.
And Locks pulling up the rear at 9,165. I'm sure he's going to take care of that tonight. And
yes,
it's time for the picks. I don't even know if I have my picks up here. I do have them. There they are. All right, I'll go first this week, and we're all got something on the Syracuse game, as I alluded to. as soon as this came out, I jumped on Syracuse plus 13. Probably too fast because it went to 14. Then I saw tonight it went back down to 13.5, which I would obviously prefer. The juice is 113 on the 13. Let me read you some stats, boys. I told you earlier in the week I was doing some homework, which means my picks are going to be crap tonight, right? I do better when I don't do any homework. Okay, Clemson in all games against the spread 0-4, on the road 0-2, as a favorite 0-4. Are we getting a theme here down here? Yeah. Syracuse 4-1 in all games, 2-1 as a underdog, and so that Clemson can't cover. And Beef and I were talking before you got jumped on, Locks. Every game except for South Carolina State for Clemson has been a one-score game. So why do you think they're going to win this by 2 scores? I watched some of Syracuse and Wake last week. Syracuse hung right with them, ran the ball really well. I don't know how many points Syracuse is going to score, but let's say they score 10. Do we think Clemson's going to score 24? They may, and if they do, I'll take the L for the team, for the Clemson Tigers on this spreadsheet. I'll take the L and be happy about it. So either way, my theory, either way this goes, I'll be happy. I'll win the bet, or Clemson will win by more than 13. I'm taking Syracuse plus 13. I'm going to surprise you guys and go big time here with 200 Sluggo bucks.
Oh, Marty. Stats.
Hey, I'm in first place for a reason now.
Hey, you don't if it ain't broke, don't fix it, as they say.
Yeah. Clemson's good for one beautiful drive per game and then a lot of frustration. But their defense is legit. So I'm thinking Syracuse covers at 13. And like I said, if they don't, I'm happy. Okay, Beef, you are in second place now, so you get to go second. What's your pick on this game?
Let's see what Locke has to go first. Which one do you have going first? All right, I'll go with this one then because I'm going directly. How about them Braves? There you go.
Yeah.
Locke, you got a little shout out.
Team.
And here you could throw up the next comment too. Clemson is due. How often is Clemson going to be due? Or when are they due? Anyway, my first pick this week is actually Clemson-Syracuse game as well. And it's strictly because Locke's locked in 45.5 as the over-under. And he said in our pre-show meeting that he was taking the under. So just to go head-to-head with my boy Locks, I'm taking the over minus 45.5, and I'm going to get rid of that 50 cents because I don't think I'm going to win this one. 250 Sluggo bucks.
Nice. All right, 250. Let me put that in the old Sluggo machine here. Locks. Well, I think we know what your bet on this game is going to be if Casey's going opposite you, but spell it out and tell us how many bucks.
But, Beef, you didn't really give a real reason. Was it just because I'm going under?
100%.
Okay,
100%.
Just wanted to be sure. Clemson still has a stifling defense. We all know that. Syracuse scores 31.5 points a game is their average, but they also allow 24 points a game, and that's really the most important point. Here – heck, Clemson can score 28 points, but they're probably only going to give up 10, maybe 13, Marty. Same thing. I still got the under. And I think they're going to go up there. Defense is still going to have an attitude. Syracuse, they're just so Syracuse. I don't even know how else to say it. But, if Clemson scores 28, the fans will go nuts. I mean, you think about that. And there's a solid chance they won't. They'll probably score more like 24. So the under is the pick. Sorry, Beefer. Give me 500 on it.
Ooh, 500. And you've got an even number, so you don't have to do that ridiculous 50 cents. Which could turn out to be the difference in the whole season because two of us will probably have nothing in case you end up with 50 cents, and that'll be the winner. He'll be the winner. All right, my second game. Man, this team has been so good to me. Michigan State. I think I've already bet them twice this year. I bet them to pick Miami. I bet the money line, and that came home for me. I picked them over the State University of New Jersey last week. They had 4 touchdowns of over 90 yards on New Jersey, on Rutgers' defense. Same thing, right? I just think they're better than people think. And Indiana's had trouble scoring, right? So you're getting a solid, steady team with Kenneth Walker. He's very close to he's the Bijan Robinson of the Big Ten, just trucking Rutgers and 86-yard touchdown runs and everything else. And I'm only giving up 3 points. So I was joking around the last game, said I was going big on them, but I'm going huge on Michigan State, 250 Sluggo bucks. I hate to risk that much, but I'll do it. Somebody remind me, are these real bucks or what are we doing here? I'm holding on to them.
At this rate, Vegas is way off. Let's just say that. Here we are thinking that I was like setting a number now.
Anthony Weeks says Clemson by 17. I hope you're right. I will take the L.
And I'll be all right with it being 34-17 as well.
17-0 works.
I appreciate you chiming in, Anthony. Been a lot of fun having you comment on the show.
Absolutely.
Okay, Beef,
my second game is Boston College and NC State. I don't know why. I'm not a believer in NC State, and I actually really like Devin Leary. I think it may start at the top with Dave Doran. I just feel like NC State is just a couple losses left in their season. I really like Boston College a lot. I love Jeff Hafley, their head coach. Dennis Grossel's kind of got to take care of the ball a little better, but he's got weapons. He's got 3 really good running backs. He's got Zay Flowers. Clemson learned all about their tight ends against over the middle, why Clemson doesn't do that. I'm taking this road dog, Boston College +2 on the road for 400 Sluggo bucks.
Ooh, trying to make the move. It's Beef. Yeah, I actually
just wait.
This was the game. I was going to take Boston College on the money line here if I didn't find my third great pick, which I never did. But I considered taking Boston College on the money line here. I think Boston College is going to give them fits. But then Beef agreed with that, and I said, hell, he can have it then. All right, Boston College +2 for 400 bucks. Beef, you don't take the underdog very often, so that's intriguing, shall we say. Now, Zach Locks Parker chose a team next. Coastal's off this week. He couldn't take Coastal, but he came close. Zach, what's your second pick?
Dug deep, boys. Big time. Real deep. Down into
I thought you were talking NFL here.
A game that you will not find on any television, not just your television. We had ESPN3, Ohio University versus Buffalo. The two teams have a total of 3 combined wins. Ohio is terrible. They're 1-5. Buffalo's 2-4. But I going back to Coastal, I saw Buffalo play Coastal. They're not that bad. They're a decent team. I got Buffalo at 10.5. I'm going to take Buffalo to win. Just the stats just on ESPN's app stuck out at me because their average scoring, Ohio averages 19.3 points scoring. Buffalo averages 31 points. Ohio allows 31.3 points, and Buffalo only allows 28.2 points. So something's got to give. I mean, I just think that it's a blowout for Buffalo overall here, even though they're traveling to Ohio. But, the crowd's not as big of a difference in the MAC, I don't think, as an SEC game. Give me 500. 500
Sluggo bucks. Let me put that down.
Feeling it.
Big spenders here on this show, 2 out of 3 anyway. All right, my third game. Little team, little ACC team here. Virginia Tech had a tough loss to Notre Dame last week, and I don't think the crowd is going to be as into it as they were for that game, even though Virginia Tech's at home. Sandman is not going to enter this week, right? This is a bet on the Pitt offense. Guess how many points Pitt scored? Let me read these off to you. 51, 41, 41, 77, and 52. So remember that next week when Clemson plays Pitt. Their lowest of the year is 41. Now, there was a horrible loss in there. We know that. So this is certainly a risk. And as I said, Tech's coming off a crushing loss to Notre Dame. The building won't have the same energy. Pitt is minus 4.5 points here on the road. I probably, now that I think of it, I probably should have taken the money line. But 4.5, they could still win by a field goal and I'll win. So knowing that I bet, 200 and 250, that makes 450. I don't know what you guys set the over-under at this week, but I'm going to go 300 Sluggo bucks here to bring the total to 750. Who won?
Yes. The under hits again.
Did it? What was the over-under on this one?
855.
Oh,
855.
Okay, I'll keep it in mind for next
Well,
week.
it was 505 or something last week, so that's why we both
Play that game where you go up and down until you get to the middle. So
All right.
Vegas will figure this one out by week 14.
Yeah, I've got faith that Pitt is going to score and Virginia Tech's not going to be able to keep up with them. Beef, your third pick, Beef.
I'm going scorched earth here. Alabama on the road at Mississippi State. Alabama, I almost had a brain fart there. Like literally my brain just stopped working. Alabama is 17-point favorites. The juice is not very good for me, minus 113. But I just feel like it's going to be scorched earth the rest of the year. I don't care who they're playing. They're going to get it together. Their running back, Brian Robinson, is ridiculous. Their receivers are just frisbee catching dogs, as I always say. Their defense will be fine. I'm sure they worked their tails off this week in practice. I think this is going to be one of those 52-14, 52-7 style games. And I'm so confident I'm actually going 1,250 Sluggo bucks.
Oh!
Well, it's going to be outhouse or penthouse for the Beef. Hey, before we get to your last pick locks, I wanted to say another reason I took Pittsburgh. They're pretty much the inverse of Clemson when it comes. They're 3-1 against the spread. All those numbers on the road, they're 2-0. So they're totally different than Clemson, totally opposite. It should be intriguing to see what happens next week. All right, Locks, your third and final game.
I was just reading in the comments here, but Nelson just put up, I am in trouble next week again. He's saying that I'm missing out on my Coastal pick this week because I do love those guys. They play on Tuesday next week. Can I go ahead and lock them in tonight? Okay, just want to be sure.
Anytime you can lock them in. Just got to tell us whether you want you're going to give up the points or take the points or whatever.
I mean,
we'll have it.
Declares. Huge fan.
Okay, and so everybody heard it. Locks is locking it. Is that you want to lock him in?
We're going to stand by and see the line first.
But you can lock him in before the show because I offered that this week when App State played last night.
Right.
I said we can lock it in if you want to, and you could be 1-0 or 0-1 before the show ever starts. So. If you want to lock it in next week, lock it in on Monday or just before the game, whatever you want to do. Your third pick tonight.
Yeah, third pick. I'm going to my SEC people. The game we talked about earlier, Ole Miss visiting University of Tennessee. This is Kiffin's return to Tennessee after the sneaking out in the middle of the night, and they lit the city on fire. Couches were burning as he left. His plane flew off. Just looking again at ESPN's app, the mysterious ESPN Football Power Index actually has Tennessee favored in this game at 53.8%. So they're expecting a tight one. I got Ole Miss as a 3-point favorite. I'm going to take them to win by the 3 points. I think it is going to be a track meet. Over under is too high for me at 82, but I expect it to be pretty far up there. I just don't think. I don't think Tennessee is going to be able to hang. I don't know what it is about it. I've seen them play the past couple of weeks and put up some really big points, but I think Ole Miss is just a better team overall, athlete-wise. So give me Ole Miss here in 3 points.
And Sluggo Bucks?
We're going to go 500 again, across the board.
500. All right, let me read these off to you guys before I put them in that fancy graphic I always do. Marty's got Clemson plus Syracuse. Clemson plus Syracuse. Clemson at Syracuse plus 13 for Syracuse for 200 Sluggo bucks. Michigan State giving 3 points to Indiana. This is at Indiana. 250 Sluggo bucks. And the big one, Pitt minus 4.5 at Virginia Tech for 300 Sluggo bucks. Beef, Clemson Syracuse over 45.5 for 250 bucks. Boston College +2 for $400. And Alabama -17 for $1,250. And all of a sudden, I am a Mississippi State fan. Locks, Clemson, Syracuse in a lock fight with beef under 45.5 for 500 Sluggo bucks. I'm liking locks there, but heck, who knows?
Me too.
Buffalo -10.5 for 500 Sluggo bucks. Who are they playing? Locks? Do you even know? Or do you
I know. You.
Locks thought the Buffalo Bills were playing this week,
Yeah.
and he said 10.5. Let me jump on that. Ole Miss -3 playing Tennessee. Where's that game, Locks?
It's at Tennessee.
Okay.
Yep.
For $500. Does that sound right, guys?
Sounds great.
All right. Beef, are you chopping it up? Are you guys chopping it up tomorrow night?
We are. We're going to be able to do it. Let's do it. We got 2 weeks. We got baseball to talk about. We got some college football. We got Herb. We got Gruden. We got all sorts of good stuff coming tomorrow night.
You guys got to with all that stuff going on with Gruden and Herb and Mike.
No, I'm not touching it. I'm not touching either one of those, to be honest with you. But just to kind of get the crowd riled up.
You got a jam-packed show, or if you wanted a jam-packed show, it'd be jam-packed. The Chopping Beef is a lot of fun. Adult themes and what's the commercial say? Adult themes and situations. And a lot of fun on that show. And we post that on SouthernNewsReserve.com once Casey gets it out. All right. Over on SouthernNewsReserve.com, John Chasey and I did our top 5, which this week was pretty darn close. I think we had Cincinnati and Alabama reversed one out of the other. I read a little bit about All In for the Wins. It's about a guy who posted on our Facebook page that had All In all over his page. They lose 2 games, and he took the All In out off of his page. So really, he was only all in when Clemson was winning, which, it defeats the whole point of All In. Today, John Chancey looked back at last week, and tomorrow he's going to look ahead to this week. That sounds kind of awkward. Look ahead to this week. But this week's game's on Saturday. So appreciate John Chancey. 2 cents. Casey's 2 cents will be coming tomorrow or Friday. He's got Writer's Block Dream.
Well, I went to bed the other night with this grand idea. It was going to be like it was so it was wonderful. And I woke up and I completely forgot what I was going to do.
Oh, man.
So, and literally sat down at the computer like I used to do too when I would do a blog and just free write kind of thing and just try to remember it. It didn't come back. So hopefully tonight, if my pillow is literally right there, maybe it'll come back to me. I'll write it down and then be able to. But I'm going to have something. I don't want to just throw anything out there ancillary. So I'm going to have something hopefully within tomorrow, Friday.
Hey, it happens, and I do some writing for an Astros website, and I ran out of things to talk about, right? So I started this thing where I'm basically doing bullet points now. And baseball's great for this because you just throw out stats and people eat it up. Did you know he batted .248 left-handed on Tuesdays after 7 o'clock?
Yeah.
Baseball people love that kind of stuff. So
my style doesn't really work with that kind of stuff. Unfortunately, I wish it did. I know it's that's what I was saying. That's why that's great. And he's like, "Hey, Marty, you going to contribute this week? Yeah, let me find 8 crazy, stupid numbers, throw it up there." I hope he didn't listen to this show. That's the Syracuse sidelines guy that runs that page. Yeah, so it's a lot of fun. Anthony Weeks, you listen to Chopping Beef. It's CHOP' Beef on YouTube. Also, there is a Facebook page as well. Just look us up. I think it's free. You can just. I know it's free financially, but I think there's no explanation needed. Just come join us. CHOP' Beef. Or,
Anthony, you can go to SouthernNewsReserve.com. Just scroll down to the last Chopping Beef. It's on there, and you can click on there and subscribe and all that.
We go live on Thursdays at 8:00 Eastern.
From right there. With the live show, Chopping Beef. At least you can find the page and get all the information. Facebook. What are you live on Facebook, Case?
Yeah.
Facebook and
I should know that.
As well.
That's where I watch it.
I kind of guard that one. I don't put that one out on the Seldom Used Reserve page.
What's Chancey saying? Marty's All In article is getting a lot of love on Facebook. Love?
Likes, yeah.
they didn't get no love from the people I'm hearing from.
Chancey might be. He may have wrote that in the sarcastic font. You just can't see it on the phone today.
That's
and
hilarious.
Nelson saying, "Wait, Marty's going analytics." Marty, Nelson's rubbing off on you a little bit.
No, I'm not going to analytics. Actually, I would. That's what I was known for, right? When Southern User before, I had all the numbers and stats and da. And the older I get, and crankier, obviously, I'm starting to not believe them. You know, the guy, what is it, Nelson? SP Plus, they have Clemson ranked 5th.
Right.
What the heck? I mean, what are we talking about here? Are we not watching with our eyes? You know,
yeah.
Are we? I mean, and Nelson said, well, that's because it's got a lot of last year's numbers mixed in there. And I get that as a math guy and an analytical guy. I understand why they're there, but they're not the 5th best team in the nation. It's just it's this madness out there with the analytics. They overdo it, and I listen to a lot of podcasts, as you guys know, and that's all they talk about. They don't even look at the teams. They don't need to. They look at a spreadsheet. Well, they're averaging 2.7 yards on third down, and their line yardage is 6.9, and they don't even watch the games, and it's just madness.
There's nothing worse. There's nothing worse than stat spitters. You know, guys that don't watch the games but can tell you, how many touchdowns to interception ratio they got just by looking at ESPN.com. I can't stand that.
I like both, right? But the older I get, as I said, I'm starting to veer back to the eyeball test.
That's right.
And I don't know what's going to happen this year, but the eyeball test tell me Oklahoma's defense is not number 26. And Clemson is not number 5, the 5th best team in the nation. Not sure about anything else, but I'm pretty sure about those two. Nalox, good to see you, man. Good luck on your picks. Casey, could you get us out of here?
Yep. Cindy Lynn Wilson here below says, I agree by 3 touchdowns. Go Tigers. Thank you, Cindy, for jumping in. Cindy Lynn, appreciate you. Thanks to everyone in the Seldom Used Reserve College Football Discussion Facebook group, especially Nelson Wilhite for all his help, John Chansky for his work on seldomusedreserve.com, everyone on Seldom Used Reserve, Sluggo Podcast, and each and every one of you who listens, likes, and shares and participates. We love the comments. Keep them coming. Thanks so much. On behalf of Zach Locks Parker, Marty Seldom Used Reserve Coleman, I am Casey the Beef Cregan. Thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next week on Sluggo.
I think we're done here.